Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee, and this is Ginger, and we are at Frederick County Animal Control on Rosemont Avenue, and we're going to be bringing you some adoptable animals that are available at our shelter this week. Ginger is a 2 or 3 year old ginger-colored tabby cat, as you can plainly see. She has beautiful yellow eyes. She came to us kind of in between a stray and an owned cat. The people who brought us to her have been feeding her for a little while. They, of course, were hoping that they were going to find the home that she came from, and they weren't able to. And then they were hoping to find her a new home, and that also can be challenging if you're just an individual. At least here at the shelter, people who are looking for cats stop by, and even people who just like animals stop by and then find out they were looking for a cat while they're here. So Ginger is available for adoption, and like all of our cats, of course, she will be spayed, given vaccinations. Part of your adoption package is credit at a local vet for a checkup and a rabies shot. And there are plenty of things you might want to get for her in addition to that. Some people like to get heartworm medicine for their cat. You may want to have a stool sample done to make sure she doesn't have any parasites. We do treat routinely for parasites here, fleas included, but it is an ongoing thing, a responsibility you have to keep your cat comfortable. So Ginger is very friendly. She's purring right now. I know that's hard to tell on the camera, but she is also looking at our next guest very intently. So you'll be meeting her in just a moment. But I would say without Randy here, as usual, hopefully I won't lose any cats, but Ginger is very easy to handle, and I think she would make someone a wonderful pet. So if you are interested in meeting her, then please come by the shelter and do so. I don't suspect she'll be here very long. She's a sweetie. Kelly is about a year old, and Kelly may appear to be a black and white cat, but I don't know if you can see here. She has some tan markings on her body, which makes her technically a type of calico. Pretty unusual markings. Usually calicos are orange and black or cream and gray, and she is black and cream, so very interesting coloring, and she's very sweet. She also came to us as a stray, as is common this time of year. Many of the cats that come in now are last year's kittens. So while they were cute and little, someone sheltered them over the winter, maybe even got them spayed and got them a rabies shot, but people move, and stray cats have sometimes more than one home, so they get lost. And unfortunately for the cats, when people are missing a cat that they've been feeding, they usually don't check in with the shelter until the cat's been missing for several days. The problem with that is that when we get friendly social cats like this, we hold them for 5 days in the back so that people who are looking for them can find them, but then we put them up for adoption. And if they are friendly and lovely, as she is, then they can be adopted in pretty short order. So if you don't start looking for your cat for a couple of weeks, then it's possible that the cat could be in a brand new home by then. And if the cat is loosely owned and you're not really committed to him or her, then it's very likely that you're okay with that. But what we would like is for people to come to the shelter or at least call us when a cat is missing, because if you do want to put the cat up for adoption and have taken the cat to the vet or know anything about their personality, what experience they have, what they like, we would love to have that information. So if the people who were feeding her had called us and said, oh yes, she's had a rabies shot, yes, she's had kittens, she likes our dog, she's good with our kids, all of that can help her get a new home. So even if you have a loosely owned cat, by all means, let us know if you haven't seen the cat around lately. And another thing that you can do if you have a cat like Kelly, and obviously we named her Kelly when she was brought here, and she may have had another name prior to that, is to get her spayed, and I know that's costly, so we have a grant from the Cinder Foundation for Animals, and we will pay for that for you. So if you have a cat that you are willing to shelter and care for, but you just don't want to make that few $100 commitment to spay her or neuter him, please call me at 301-600-1735, and we can get that done for you. We are back with Cinder, and Cinder is a 6-month-old black kitten. She's only 6 months old, so it is a little scary for her to be here since she hasn't ever had this experience before of not only being in a shelter, but being around strangers and being on television. So you can imagine it might be a little scary. But one of the things that's nice about us having the kittens when they're this young in the shelter is we have our whole staff of volunteers that gets them used to grooming and having their cages opened by strangers, handling, and letting them do things that are a little bit new and exciting is good for them because we can see how resilient they are. And this kitty and her sister, who you're going to meet in just a moment, are doing a great job of adjusting to all the changes. She is not purring yet, but she is doing pretty well, plus she can see her sister, so that's reassuring. If you have been thinking of adopting 2 cats together, one of the recommendations that we make is to adopt littermate sisters. Cats do not mind living alone without other cats. They obviously want a person to take care of them. But one of the things, if you want to, that can assure you that they'll get along, most likely to get along, is getting sisters that are litter mates. In the wild, cats will nurse each other's kittens if they're sisters, or mothers and daughters, or grandmothers and grandchildren. And male cats are more likely, when they're 9 or 10 months old, to want their own space and territories. So even if you get 2 brothers that like each other, it is more likely that 2 brothers will be more independent as they get older. And obviously, for all of you out there who have brother cats who are the best of friends, it is just a rule of thumb. It's by no means a guarantee. Some cats always like each other. Some cats grow apart, just like people. They're individuals. But if you are considering getting 2 cats, then these 2 are available, and they are both young. These are actually the youngest cats in the shelter right now, and Cinder is getting antsy. And so, of course, when Randy watches this episode, which I know that he will, this is where he gets credit for the work that he does while I am talking to you about the cats. So Cinder is available now from the shelter, and like all of our cats, she will be spayed and microchipped and vaccinated and flea treated, as will her sister. There's also no reason to feel guilty if you separate them, because since cats are independent, they're quite different from dogs. Dogs pretty much know if they don't have friends, they won't make it. But cats are such efficient hunters that they don't need other cats to survive, so they're perfectly happy to be the only cat. And if you think that Cinder is a beautiful cat that might make a great addition to your home, then please come by and meet her, or share her picture for us, and maybe we will find the right person for her this week. Great. This is Cinder's sister Charlotte, and as you can see, she is the same size and age, obviously, but she is a little more shy. You would think with Cinder trying to get off my lap, that would make her the more shy one, but she was actually brave enough to go somewhere else. This little girl, Charlotte, is too scared to try to leave, so we have a sign on their cage when you come to visit them that says to just go slow with them and be careful, and they'll be fine. They're very sweet kittens. They like people. They just haven't done very much or been very many places, so all of these new things are frightening to them. One of the interesting things about cats is that they're both predator and prey. There are larger animals that will harm cats, so they have the instinct to run away, hide, or fight if they're challenged. But they are also predators, so they have the instincts to chase and listen for and find the hiding places of small animals that they might eat for food. So it puts them in a unique niche of behavior where they have both brave hunting skills as well as fearful hiding skills when they're placed in some new place. So Charlotte, also 6 months old, just like her sister, is black but also with more white markings. And both of these kittens are just beautiful, beautiful kittens, very sleek. They look more the Oriental cat appearance than they do the classic short hair. And she doesn't want to know what's happening. She's just going to hide. So if her shyness is endearing to you, then you just might be the perfect person to take her home and show her the world as a safe place where she can be. And she'll, you know, she may never be a life of the party cat, and some people want that. Some people want a cat that is more quiet and reposed. But it also could be true, since she's only 6 months old, if you bring her home and show her how great your house is and how safe you can make it for her, that she may turn out to just come out of her shell and be as friendly and wonderful as possible, which is often the case with cats that are only 6 months old when they're adopted. I am back with Jessie, and Jessie is also 6 months old, just like Cinder and Charlotte, but he's had a lot more experience with humans and being out and about. Also came to us as a stray. And one of the things that you should consider when you come to the shelter to meet our cats is that the personality that you see when you come in, Jessie's purring, leaning all over me, very relaxed, is not necessarily going to be their personality for the rest of their life. However, when you are looking for a cat, you want to think about, what do you picture doing with your cat? If you picture watching movies by the fire in the winter, or in the summer, taking a vacation from work, people call it a staycation, and doing odd jobs around the house, then you're gonna want a cat like Charlotte or Cinder. If you picture yourself having friends over, sitting out on your screened-in porch, if you have a dog or if you have children that want to be able to hold the cat, then you're gonna want a kitten like Jessie. Because the minute you touch Jessie, he starts purring. He doesn't care who you are. Charlotte and Cinder are going to care more about individual people. They're going to like certain people. It'll be a compliment if they like you. Jessie just likes everyone. So if you have any interest in playing games with your cat, then he may also be the cat for you with string. Now, all kittens will play, but some cats with this, and he's licking his lips. So some cats with this intensity are much more interested in playing with balled up paper and strings. Don't leave them unattended with kittens because they do swallow pieces of them. But he seems like he's going to be just an amazing kitten. He's beautiful, he's confident, he's active, he's young. So if you are looking for a robust kitten, then Jessie may be the one for you. So I will be back after a short break with some more adoptable animals for you from Frederick County Animal Control, and I hope you join us, and I hope Randy feels better next week, because this is harder than it looks.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
This is Mickey, and Mickey is a 2-year-old Dutch bunny. He is chocolate and white, and he was purchased from a pet store by a parent for his daughter for Easter. And he lived in that house for 2 days. The pet store did agree to take the bunny back the following Monday, but they did not want to wait, so they brought the bunny to us. And this is a problem with Easter I'm sure you've heard about, and that is that bunnies are very cute. And at Easter time, they're featured in pet stores, which are in shopping malls, which means if you're out and about and you had no intention of bringing home a new family member, you might see a cute bunny in a pet store, stop in, talk to the pet store people, where they will explain to you that bunnies need a safe enclosure, hay to eat, a bowl of water, and things to play on, and it's pretty much that easy. But what happens when people take them home is they find out that incorporating the feed store into your errands to get hay is not that easy, and that rabbits are a little messy. They don't use a litter pan or go outside or walk on a leash like dogs and cats. So it's a new kind of pet that you have to be ready for. In addition, rabbits need to go to the vet just like any other pet. It's no less expensive to take a bunny to the vet than it is to take a cat or a dog. So you do need to be prepared for that. A pet like any other pet, you can check out, as I always mention, the herding rabbit on YouTube or agility rabbits and see just how wonderful rabbits can be, how interactive and smart they are. He is probably smart enough not to jump down from here, but I'm just being careful so he doesn't get hurt. They like to chew things, so it is important to give them things that they can chew on to keep their dental health. And if you think that a rabbit would make a nice pet for you, then please come by and meet one of our bunnies and we'll talk to you about what they need and you can see if it's gonna fit with your lifestyle. And our next guest is Snoopy. Snoopy is a California bunny. He's only 6 months old, and as you can see, he's already bigger than Mickey. This breed of rabbit is a larger rabbit than Dutch bunnies. And Snoopy is playing with his pine cone, which rabbits like. And that little thump that he just did, that's him letting me know that he is guarding his territory from me. He's not at all sure about me being this close, what the camera is doing, if I'm gonna take his food. So that was a very mild thump. They can actually make a really loud, repetitive noise if they're scared. Now, because the cages they're in are fiberglass, every time he hops, it makes a noise. But there's a little bit of difference when he stomps to let me know that he's nervous. So this little bunny was also purchased and then brought to the animal shelter when they realized that it was a lot of work to take care of a bunny. And when I say that it's a lot of work, it really isn't if it fits your lifestyle. So the cage has to be cleaned, obviously. They need hay, so that means a trip to the store to get that. And they obviously need stuff to do. They're intelligent, vibrant animals that need to have interaction with you and agility equipment in the way of, we have cardboard tubes, and these bunnies get to come out on the weekend and go in a big pen and jump around on boxes and things like that, which they enjoy doing. Rabbits are social animals, so if you find a rabbit that is a good match for your existing rabbit, which houserabbit.org can help you with, it's called bonding, they can live in groups. It is important to spay and neuter your bunnies if they're going to live in groups because obviously rabbits reproduce pretty quickly, and as you can see in our shelter, we certainly don't need any more, and these ones are already looking for a home. So if you are interested in providing a home for a bunny, then hopefully you will come and see the ones that we have at the shelter first before you consider another source for your rabbits, to get the ones that are already here without homes, in homes, where they can be loved. And they live 10 to 13 years, so it is a commitment. Not quite as long as a cat, but they need to have, you need to know where you're gonna be in 10 years, so you know if you can get a rabbit. Bitsy is a 2-year-old lop bunny, and many people find them extremely attractive because their ears hang down. They are very cute little pets, and they tend to have a more easygoing temperament than some other kinds of bunnies. And that's not always a given, but it is something to consider if you're looking for a pet for a child. One thing to know about rabbits is since they are prey animals, they're easy to scare. So while they don't always make the most robust pet for active children, they, for a gentle child, it can be a really great pet to have. But they do have to get used to being handled. and they need to know that, by no means are you planning to eat them, because prey animals always have that in the back of their mind. Rabbits and horses alike are always wondering, have you just been fattening them up to eat them? So it is easy to scare them, and you have to think about that with your household and how you're going to raise your bunny. Now, once they trust you, you should check out YouTube for the agility bunnies, which I always talk about. But it's pretty amazing how robust and active they are, and how many things you can teach a rabbit. They really make wonderful pets, and as I've said, they live over 10 years, so you have to think about any animal that you get and what they're going to require from you over time. Now, Bitsy's already 2 years old. She'll be spayed before she goes home, and bunny adoptions are $50, and that does include spaying, which is a great deal because it would cost more than that just to have the surgery performed at your local vet. We're able to do that because we subsidize it, and in addition, vets in the community that help the shelter give us discounts and volunteer their time so that we can make this happen for you and for the homeless animals. So if you think Bitsy would make a good match for you, then come and meet her or share her picture on social networks so that other people can know she's here. Our next guest is Fozzie, and Fozzie is a Siberian hamster. Hamsters are pretty popular children's pets, and Fozzie is only about 2 or 3 months old. He was born at the end of January to a hamster that someone purchased. They purchased 2 hamsters with the guarantee that they were purchasing same-sex hamsters. Of course, a few weeks later, they had 9 little baby hamsters. So they brought the mother, father, and all the babies into us, and we are looking for homes for them. Now, you can look at this hamster and say, oh my gosh, he looks adult size. It only takes hamsters about 5 weeks to get to adult size, and they can reproduce shortly thereafter. So it is pretty important to separate the boys and girls. But in addition, hamsters are not social animals. They don't want roommates. They don't like living together. And so having one hamster alone is perfectly humane for the hamster, especially if you create an environment that allows him to dig tunnels and build a den, have little places to hide in. In fact, Small Angels Rescue can give you information on the ideal homes for hamsters. Because we had so many at once, we gave them each their own aquarium. We constantly have to clean them because hamsters do better in more air circulating cages that are thinly placed wire so that they can have a little more fresh air. The reason we used aquariums as just the same as we use the small cages that we have cats and rabbits in, it is not ideal for their life. You have to think of it like a hotel room or a hospital room as a temporary place for them to live while they're looking for the home that they are going to have forever. So this little guy, Fozzie, is one of many. If you are interested in a hamster, please come and meet them all. They are in desperate need of getting adopted while they're still young, because hamsters are prey animals. We've talked about that a number of times today. They do fear being eaten, so they will bite you if you scare them. So you do need to get them used to climbing into your open hand, and you need to offer them things to do within their small little world. Fozzie is a black and white hamster. He has little white feet and a little white spot on his chest. It is not a very common color, but all of the babies in this litter looked like that, as did their father. So hamsters can drink from a water bottle, obviously. You also can give them a water bowl, but what they tend to do is put their bedding and food in the water bowl, making the water undrinkable. So water bottle is a better solution. What you need to always check, though, is that the water bottle is working, not dripping into the bedding and causing the cage to become damp. So it really isn't that much work to take care of a hamster. And if you check out YouTube, again, you can see hamsters that are trained to do amazing tricks for sunflower seeds or a little bit of applesauce on a straw. They do have a sweet tooth. You have to be careful with that, though, because they can get fat, and they also will hoard their food and hide it in little corners of the cage. So when you are straightening up the cage, just make sure you know where their food stash is. And of course, once you find it, they will move it. So hamsters are cute little animals. They're fun to watch. They are a great introduction to pet caretaking. If you are thinking about getting a hamster, let us know. We can help you out, or check out Small Angels on the internet, and they will give you a lot of information about the fun and joy of having a hamster as a pet. Our next guest is Chris, and Chris is a guinea pig, also known as a cavy. These furry little animals have a very short little tail, just like a hamster, and they eat hay. One of the things about guinea pigs that's important to know is that they're not allowed to have any sugar. So unlike hamsters, mice, and rats that can have the occasional sugary treat, guinea pigs cannot have the same. They can eat some vegetables as long as it's green leafy and in small amounts. And guinea pigs make really excellent pets for a couple of reasons. Number one is that they are social, so you can room two together if you introduce them properly, but they don't need to have a roommate. The other thing great about guinea pigs is that they're not that agile. So they are not escape artists. They, ideally for Chris, if he were gonna be permanently housed, he'd have a much bigger cage, but you have to build them really gradually sloping ramps. They can't climb up ladders. They can't jump off of shelves. So you can give them more space with multiple levels as long as you make it like wheelchair ramps, easy to get there, because they are not like climbers, like hamsters. And they also have a really sweet vocalization that they make. People sometimes call them whistle pigs. I don't know if I can get Chris to do it for you, but it's very endearing. People really like it. It sounds kind of whoop, 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 whoop. They do that when they're happy, when they are anticipating something good, like they hear the crisper drawer in the refrigerator and know that you're bringing them some vegetables. So Chris is a little nervous because I took his house away, so I'm gonna let him have that back. Since guinea pigs, as we've talked about this morning many times, are prey animals, they do need to know that they have a safe place to go if they feel nervous. And guinea pigs are not as likely to bite when they're scared, but of course all animals can bite, and it is important if you're getting a child pet that you explain that's how they defend themselves since they don't have hands, and that once you get them used to being handled, then they really don't have a problem with that. And I'm gonna see if I'm gonna let Chris out again, let him be a little less scared if he has half a house to hide in. So he's just letting me know that this staring down at him into his cage, taking his cage apart, is a little nerve-wracking. But he's a very pretty little guinea pig and would make someone a really nice pet. He's only a year old, and guinea pigs can live, they generally live 5 or 6 years, but I have heard of guinea pigs living as long as 9 years. So you do need to be sure that this is a pet that you want to share your house with. Poor little Chris, he's a little scared. Thanks for joining us this week on Pet Pals. I hope you've seen some different kinds of animals that Frederick County Animal Control has for adoption, and that you will consider maybe a less traditional pet, hamster, rabbit, guinea pig, something like that. And I would like to ask anyone who maybe you're not ready to adopt, maybe you're too busy to volunteer, which we totally understand, but we definitely could use your help with posting pictures of our animals on social networking sites, as well as we need some bath towels, old beach towels. We don't care if they're stained, we don't care if they're worn, but it is something we use plenty of in the shelter, and we could never have too many. So if it's time for you to buy some new beach towels this summer, maybe it's a great time to get rid of the old ones by dropping them off at 1832 Rosemont. And if you have enjoyed this episode of Pet Pals, please share the link below, and we will get the word out that we have animals and they need homes.